You're watching Taste the Victory.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we've got a deck list for the poster boy of the best season of Digimon, Digimon Tamers, and that would be Gallantmon. Gallantmon is a deck that aims to clear your opponent's board and chip away security to finally end the game with Gallantmon Crimson mode, which trashes the last of your opponent's security safely based on how many cards they have in their trash. The new support introduced in BT12 ups the consistency of that with new ways to trash your opponent's security, memory gain to quickly go into your level 6 and other levels for cheaper, and another additional way to warp into your level 6s to quickly climb and compete with the speed of this meta. It's really great support introduced in this set, and it's a really fun deck with one of my favorite Digimon, so I've had a lot of fun with this one. But let's go ahead and look at the boss monster that we are supporting and then the cards that are going to support it. First up is the new Gallantmon introduced in this set, and yes, you do have to run 4 of the alternate art because this is the best alternate art in the game. It's a reference to the Digimon World 3 opening cinematic, and if you want to see more Digimon World 3 references that are hidden throughout this game, check out this video I made in the top right corner right now. But this card is 12 memory to Heart Slam, 4 memory to Digivolve over a red level 5, 12,000 DP, and it has the new mechanic Raid. When this Digimon attacks, you may switch the target of the attack to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. And then when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and then when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. If no opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this card is very efficient for clearing your opponent's board and just completely controlling them. Because not only can you delete something through battle, even if they're unsuspended thanks to the new Raid mechanic, you also get to delete something on Digivolving and then try again when attacking. So in a best case scenario, Gallantmon either clears your opponent's board, which is super huge, or you get to safely trash security and chip away or even blitz for game potentially in that situation. So this is a fantastic new mega to build around introduced to us in BT12. But let's go ahead and see how exactly we are supporting that. We'll make our way up from the bottom, so let's start with our eggs as usual, and this is Gigimon, who I finally learned to pronounce properly thanks to you guys. This is one that is very familiar to Gallantmon players, so it's not much that needs to be said. When attacking once per turn, if the Digimon is Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon its name, draw 1, so basically at any stage of our climb, we are always going to be able to activate this when attacking and get an additional draw, which is good to keep our hand size up, so very self-explanatory, easy 4 of. Then we have our rookies, of which we are running 12, 3 different Guilmons at 4 each. First up is the new one introduced in BT12, 3 memory to Heart Slam, 2000 DP, on play reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, which is always nice because top 4 is a really deep dig by Digimon standards, and then add all Takatos among them to your hand, bottom deck the rest. This is fantastic since, as you can see in the bottom, we do have a new Takato in this set, so being able to grab that in addition to the old one if we reveal both is huge. And then its inheritable is your turn, while a Digimon is Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, it gets plus 2000 DP, which pairs very nicely with the new Raid mechanic to make sure we can swing over anything that is unsuspended. Those DP boosts are huge. So let's move on to the next Guilmon we have in our list, and this is the old one from X2. 3 memory to play, 1000 DP, and it is also a searcher, revealing the top 4 cards of your deck, except this one grabs a Growlmon or Gallantmon and a Takato among them to your hand. So again, multiple targets we can hit off of that. Really fantastic because we could potentially grab 2 cards, and it has a wide array of cards that it hits in its search, so very likely to go off. Then it has the inheritable. When attacking once per turn, if the Digimon is Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, which is fantastic to add to the control aspect of this deck and delete wider boards. Finally, we have our last rookie, which is Guilmon from the starter deck. This is 3 memory, 2000 DP, your turn. If your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon in play, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Gallantmon in your hand for a memory cost of 4, ignoring its Digivolution requirements. Fantastic to be able to warp and ignore levels to quickly get back into the game with your Gallantmon. And since we have the new Takato, which gives Blitz, that pairs very nicely to get any additional when Digivolving or when attacking effects off. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, trigger, draw 1, inheritable. With all the deletion effects you saw we have on our level 6 alone, let alone the rest of the deck, this will be a very easy inheritable to get off. So even if you never warp with the Guilmon, which to be honest, you're usually going to be warping with the Takato instead, even if you never warp off with this guy, the inheritable is super good and will come up a lot because you always want to be drawing in this game. So we're running it at 4, if anything else, just for that. That covers level 3s, let's get down to our level 4s. First up is the Growlmon from X3. This is 5 memory to Heart Slam, 5000 DP, 3 from a purple level 3, but it can Digivolve from a Guilmon of any color for 2. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, both players trash the top 2 cards of their deck. Fantastic, because either you get to destroy something on the field or you get to fill up your trash for your effects that trash security based on how much trash your opponent has. And there's other effects in this deck as well, such as the WarGrowlmon that will play a Tamer for free based off how much is in trash. So being able to easily fill that up for just Digivolving is huge. Its inheritable is also really nice. Inheritable, when attacking, once per turn, you may delete one of your other Digimon to have the Digimon gain security attack +1. Always nice to be able to up the amount of pressure we can put on our opponent's security. Then we have the new Growlmon introduced in the set, and we are running this one at 4 because this one is really fantastic. When digivolving, if you don't have a Takato in play, you may play one from your hand without paying its memory cost. On a level 4, that is huge to quickly set up your tamer for free, and then additionally still get a body on board. We need to run this guy at 4 to make sure we can see him as fast as possible and get value off it. Its inheritable is also great because it does the same thing as the new Guilmon, which gives it plus 2000 DP. Again, really important for the raid mechanic. So we're going for a 4-3 split there. And then we have Growlmon from X2. This is 2 to digivolve over a red level 3 of 5000 DP. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2000 DP or less. If you have a red tamer blade, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Inheritable, when attacking, it is Digimon as Growlmon or Gallantmon and its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So just great because there's more opportunities to be able to delete stuff here. You can stop rookies that are blocking you, like Floodgates, like Motoki Betamon or anything like that, and be able to clear boards. So it's a useful utility card, but not terribly mandatory, especially since its main effect requires it to be when attacking. And this guy's a pretty low level DP champion, so we're only going to be running it at 2. We have 3 of the starter deck Growlmon, however, because this card is fantastic. No main effect, but it's 2 to digivolve from a red level 3, 5000 DP, inheritable, your turn, once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. And it is incredibly easy to get that effect off, as you saw in this deck. The Growlmon, the Gallantmon itself has a lot of ways to trigger it, like 3 ways to trigger it alone. So being able to reduce your Digivolution cost when paired with a Takato Blitz is very helpful to be able to choke your memory or to be able to keep it on your turn. That covers our champions, and then we move on to our level 5s. We have WarGrowlmon from X3. It is half purple, half red. 4 memory to digivolve over a purple level 4, but 3 from level 4 if its name contains Growlmon. 8000 DP, when digivolving, both players trash the top 3 cards of their deck. Then if a player has 5 or more cards in their trash, you may play 1 Guilmon or Takato from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost. This is fantastic because it checks either player's trash, so as long as one of you has it, you're going to play a free Takato or a free Guilmon, and you get to make the choice. So you can set up to have a another Guilmon up ready for the inheritable of the old Growlmon, or if you don't want to do that, if you don't have a Takato out, you can play a Takato for free. This also doesn't have the clause of the new Growlmon, where you can only play it if you don't already have a Takato. So if you have one Takato out and you see the other one, you can play it for free off of this WarGrowlmon. So it basically offers a lot of utility in one card, and it's pretty flexible in how you want to use it. It's a fantastic level 5, and for that we're going to run it at 3. Unfortunately only 3 because we do have to make room for a lot of the good level 5s that are in this deck. Next up is the new one introduced in this set. This is BT12 WarGrowlmon, 8 memory to Heartslam, 3 overall red level 4, 8000 DP. When digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If no opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, you may digivolve this Digimon into a level 6 Digimon card with Gallantmon and its name in your hand for the Digivolution cost. When this Digimon will digivolve by this effect, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. This pairs very well with this starter deck Growlmon and with the new Gallantmon, or really any Gallantmon that digivolves something on Digivolution, because you gain the memory off of this dude, you'll gain the memory off of the effect for WarGrowlmon, and basically you'll be going into this guy for like 2 to 1 off if you get the right perfect stack. It's really useful to be able to keep pace with the meta. After that, we have the inheritable end of attack once per turn. If your opponent has no Digimon in play and this Digimon has Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, gain 2 memory. And since that does pair with the Blitz effect of Takato once we evo something over it, oh, it's just so fantastic. This lets you keep turn a lot of the time. So there's just a lot of memory gain at this level of the deck, and it's so useful to keep it your turn and put pressure on your opponent. To finally round up our level 5 ratios, we are going to run the WarGrowlmon X Antibody. It is 0 to digivolve from a WarGrowlmon. It has when digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, 2 of their Digimon gain on deletion lose 1 memory. Then if WarGrowlmon or X Antibody and send this Digimon's Digivolution cards, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 6000 or less and delete them. Really good effect there to be able to get a couple of snipes there, either off of a Floodgate rookie or something and then gain our memory, or just delete something that was sitting there like a blocker and then gain the memory off it. It's pretty nice utility, and if you don't get the effect off, it's still an additional draw at any point for free, so it helps you cycle into a piece that you're missing. Finally, we go to our level 6s and 7s to round up our Digimon lineup. We went over Gallantmon and what makes it so amazing and how we're basically building exclusively toward this guy, so let's go ahead and look at the Gallantmon X now instead. This is a 3 of. It is 4 to digivolve from a red level 5, 12,000 DP, and it can digivolve from 1 from Gallantmon. When digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. If no Digimon is deleted by this effect, unsuspend this Digimon. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if Gallantmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So both very fantastic effects, because the unsuspend could be the last swing you need for game, or just put pressure on your opponent, or be able to safely unsuspend this guy so your opponent can't swing into it if they don't also have raid. And then the trashing is always fantastic in this format because there's so many security bombs, you want to make sure your swings are as safe as possible. So either way, way, you are very happy with the effect that this Gallantmon gets off, and for only 1 memory over another Gallantmon, it's fantastic. We are not running the X Antibody package because I think this deck has more than enough search and pretty easy to hit the Gallantmon target, so I don't really think we need it because you don't terribly need that effect to go off. The Gallantmon's effect, even without having Gallantmon or X Antibody in the sources, is already very good. So it's a very nice bonus to see, and you definitely want to go for it if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. It's a very self-sustaining X Antibody compared to a lot of the other ones. I really like this card, but we're doing a 3-4 split because we do want to try to get it over the Raid Gallantmon when we can. After that, finally, is Crimson Mode, and this is basically like your finisher. It digivolves from a red level 6 for 6 memory. It has 15,000 DP, which is pretty huge in the game. When digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, which is incredible. And then when attacking, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Add 1 to the number of cards trashed by this effect for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So regardless, it is always going to do 1, which is fantastic, and what makes the scaling of this card so scary. Because with just 10 in trash, you're already trashing 2, which is a lot of times pretty quickly lets you go for game. So this card is incredible, and in a format with Guilmon running around, it is very fantastic to have in your back pocket. If you want a more budget-friendly option for that, something you could consider doing is running the Blitz Omnimon from BT5. It's still a double digits priced card, but it's not $39 like I think the Crimson Mode is, so like it's not as effective, but you still have Blitz and it unsuspends itself. So as a budget alternative, I don't think Omnimon is horrible at all, and you can just swap the 2 in if you already have it. That covers our Digimon. We only have 2 options here: red memory boost for consistency. It reveals the top 4 and lets you grab a red Digimon card, and you can delay it later to gain 2 memory and extend your plays. Really fantastic for consistency, but space is pretty tight on this list, so we're only running 2, which is about enough to increase our consistency, I believe. Then we have 3 of the new Takato and 3 of the old Takato. The new Takato is a memory tamer, which is fantastic to make sure you always have room for your plays. It is 4 memory to Heart Slam. By placing this tamer and 1 Growlmon and 1 WarGrowlmon from your trash in any order as the bottom digivolution cards of one of your Guilmon, that Digimon may digivolve into Gallantmon in your hand for the cost, ignoring its level. The Digimon digivolved by its effect gains plus 2000 DP for the turn. So another way to warp Digivolve, it is always great to have more options for that. So this lets you quickly go up to that and attack for game potentially. You know, if you're putting this underneath a Guilmon that doesn't have summoning sickness, you could quickly warp into it. And then after that, if you have enough memory, you could go into Crimson Mode to finish for game quickly. Then we have the old Takato, still a fantastic card in this deck just because of the ability to give everything in it Blitz. It is 3 memory. Your turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. Your turn, when one of your Digimon will digivolve into a Digimon with Gallantmon or Growlmon in its name, that Digimon gains 1 digivolving Blitz for the turn. For the turn is really important so we can continue climbing up, and then when we finally do have Gallantmon and we want to use the Blitz, we can. And that memory gain effect pairs very nicely with the rest of our deck. As explained a little bit earlier, this Growlmon pairs very nicely with Raid because that is still deletion, you know, deletion by battle. So you will gain memory off of this, you'll gain memory off of Takato. If you went into it off of WarGrowlmon, you're already reducing the cost by 1, so you can end up going into this dude for 1 cost pretty easily if you see the right stack and combos. So it's a really important Takato to have. I think you could even consider, if you could find the space for it, putting it at 4 compared to the new one. But that is going to be the list. This is a very fun deck, but I am not going to mince words with you guys. It does have a lot of trouble keeping up with the pace of meta decks. Guilmon can OTK you from 5 security at turn 2 or turn 3 with the right high roll, and in comparison, Guilmon can't really do that. Gallantmon takes a lot longer to set up, a lot more pieces you need to see, and unfortunately a lot less ways to be able to see them easily. Guilmon with Rivals Barrage at 4 basically uses its trash as a second hand, so it's never bad to mill something, just grab it back later and then OTK on turn 3 or something like that. Meanwhile, Gallantmon has a lot less avenues to be able to quickly see the pieces it wants, so a lot of the times Guilmon will be outpacing this deck. Hunters also has a really good matchup into it just because of how fast it is. But if they're trying to play a stall game and go into Quartzmon or something, you can just go into Crimson Mode to get rid of that and then be able to trash security and maybe have something else to swing. So that isn't the worst matchup in the world, but it is very fast. It's kind of a struggle, but very playable, at least compared to the Guilmon matchup. And after that, you have pretty decent matchups, but you are struggling into some of the best decks in the format, so it's just very unfortunate. But if you're looking for a deck to play in Ultimate Cup, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for that format. Let me know what you guys are running in your Gallantmon decks instead, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.